What if the secret to a fulfilled life isn't found in grand achievements, but in the quietest moments when the world is still and your soul can finally be heard? What if happiness isn't something you chase, but something you craft, piece by piece, through your habits, your thoughts, and how you greet the dawn? And what if the Stoics were right all along, teaching us that each sunrise isn't just a new day, but a sacred invitation to live with intention, meaning, and joy? Picture this. You're standing alone atop a gentle hill, just as the first light of day begins to stir the horizon. The world hasn't fully awakened yet. The sky unfolds in soft gradients of rose, gold, and lavender. A cool breeze brushes past your face, rustling the tall grass around you like a lullaby, bidding the night farewell. You inhale deeply. The air is crisp, almost sweet, and for a fleeting moment, time stands still. There is no rush, no noise, no obligations pressing down on your shoulders. There's only this, the sensation of being completely fully alive. As the first golden beams of sunlight warm your skin, you don't feel like you've arrived somewhere. You feel like you've remembered something. A profound realization bubbles up from within. Happiness isn't a destination. It's not a trophy waiting at the end of the race. It's a way of moving through life. It's the art of presence, a quiet mastery of how we choose to think, feel, and respond. It's in our daily routines, our morning thoughts, our silent prayers, and spontaneous laughter. It lives in how we savor our coffee, how we breathe when no one is watching, how we notice the light filtering through the trees. Each time you open your eyes in the morning, taking that first breath of consciousness, you're being handed a fragile, priceless gift, a new chance, a fresh page. Yet how often do we overlook it? How often do we rush past it, eyes glazed by urgency, hearts weighed by yesterday? We are never guaranteed a tomorrow. We are not even guaranteed the next heartbeat. That is not a grim thought. It is a powerful call to presence, because in understanding the fleeting nature of life, we unlock its deepest treasures. So no matter how imperfect the circumstances, no matter how overwhelming or uncertain life may seem, the fact that we are here right now, breathing, thinking, feeling, is a miracle worth honoring. Even in the darkest of places, people who connect to a purpose, no matter how small, can access gratitude. They understand something most of us miss. Every morning is a rebirth. Every new day carries the full potential to reshape our story. That's not just poetic, it's practical. Because today is the only day that truly exists. The past is memory. The future is imagination. What you do now is what defines you. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great voices of Stoic thought, captured this truth with piercing simplicity. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. Let that land in your soul. Take a moment to simply look. Dwell on the beauty of the world around you. Let your gaze rise to the night sky. Imagine yourself among the stars, running with them, soaring freely above the chaos of life. Watch the way nature shifts and flows, how clouds become rain, how fire transforms to smoke, how seasons turn without resistance. These reflections aren't distractions, they are reminders. They cleanse our hearts from the dust of worry and reconnect us to what's real. In the words of Viktor Frankl, a man who survived unimaginable suffering, life is never made unbearable by circumstances, but only by lack of meaning and purpose. Think about that. It's not what happens to you that breaks you. It's forgetting why you're here. But when you anchor yourself to a purpose, even if it's quiet and unseen, something incredible happens. The chaos softens. The pain finds direction. The universe itself seems to rise with you, not against you. You begin to flow with life, not fight it. You become part of a deeper rhythm, a symphony of existence where your actions ripple out, inspiring others not through noise, but through presence. Your life, lived fully and intentionally, becomes proof that it's possible. You become a living example of the beauty of inner harmony. And so we begin a sacred journey together through 13 timeless truths that illuminate the path to a more joyful, resilient, and meaningful life. Let us begin with the first truth. 1. Maintain a healthy body and mind. A sound mind and a sound body. These words, passed down through centuries, are more than ancient wisdom. They are an instruction for a life well lived. Imagine your body as the ship that carries you across the vast ocean of existence. The sea is unpredictable. Some days are calm, others stormy. If your ship is neglected, If its sails are torn, its foundation cracked, it cannot withstand the journey. It won't matter how brave your spirit is if your vessel can't hold. But when you care for your body, you fortify your mind. You build a resilient ship, capable of enduring tempests, adjusting its course, and moving with confidence no matter what the tides bring. The Stoics understood this well. To them, physical well-being wasn't a shallow pursuit. It was a necessary foundation for mental clarity, emotional stability, and spiritual strength. They believed that caring for the body wasn't separate from caring for the soul. The two were intertwined. Because how can you respond with wisdom if your mind is clouded by fatigue? How can you stand tall in hardship if your body collapses under strain? It doesn't take extreme routines or perfect discipline. It takes consistency. It takes intention. Movement, rest, nourishment, breath. These are sacred rituals, not chores. Your body is not just a vehicle. It is your first companion in this life. Treat it with respect, and it will support you in every endeavor. Let your physical vitality become the soil in which your thoughts, your courage, and your purpose take root. As we anchor ourselves in strength of body and of mind, we now move into the next truth, where we'll explore how clarity of purpose begins to shape not just our inner world, but the very energy we bring into every interaction. Just as we've seen how the body and mind are inseparable foundations for a resilient life, we now continue exploring how even the smallest acts of self-care can transform your inner world and sustain your journey through life. Both the body and the mind are deeply interconnected, two pillars holding up the same structure of a harmonious, meaningful life. They don't simply coexist, they reinforce each other, with each depending on the other to thrive. Picture a warrior about to enter battle. Would he dare step forward without his armor or leave behind his sword? Of course not. Both are essential. And just like that, the body and mind must be equally prepared to face the battles of daily life. Now envision your own daily rhythm, not as a chaotic rush, but as a series of quiet, deliberate rituals, a morning stretch that slowly awakens every fiber in your body, easing you into presence. Each movement isn't just physical, it's mental alignment, a grounding in now. Then, a nourishing breakfast that fuels not only your muscles, but also honors the soul. Each bite becomes an act of reverence, a subtle way of saying, I respect this life I've been given. Later, perhaps a walk beneath an open sky. Nothing dramatic, just a few quiet moments where your feet press gently into the earth and the wind grazes your skin. The wide horizon stretches before you, reminding you of all that is still possible. These aren't just tasks or health tips. They are powerful gestures of self-respect. Each one, a seed planted in the soil of well-being, seeds that will grow, slowly but surely, into strength, clarity, and resilience. You are tending to yourself, and that is sacred. But what of the mind? The mind, too, has its own hunger, but its nourishment is more subtle. It craves silence to reset, reflection to deepen, encouragement to flourish. Just as the body needs food and movement, the mind needs space and stillness. Without these, it becomes clouded, overwhelmed, weighed down. Imagine stepping away from the noise for just a moment. The notifications, the chatter, the spinning to-do lists, all quieted. You take a pause, you breathe. In that pause, something beautiful happens. Your mind begins to breathe with you. It becomes a flame, one that had almost gone out, now flickering back to life. Left untended, this inner flame dims. But nurtured, it shines, illuminating your path, guiding your choices, steadying your spirit. The more you nurture this space, the more it grows. Slowly, happiness doesn't feel like something you're chasing. It feels like something that's blooming inside of you. Thoughts become clearer. Your heart feels lighter. You begin to notice the peace that has been there all along, waiting underneath the noise. Even in those inevitable moments of exhaustion, when the weight of life feels heavy and you're running on empty, remember this. Your body is the only true home you will ever fully live in, and your mind is the sanctuary where your peace resides. Tend to both with care, like a gardener tending sacred ground. Your body is the loyal guardian of your soul. Your mind, the ever-flowing wellspring of your uncomfortable, like standing at the edge of an unfamiliar cliff. The silence is loud, the stillness unnerving. The absence of stimulation might feel like a void. But then something shifts. That space you feared begins to expand into something magnificent, like looking up at a vast night sky, What once seemed empty is now filled with potential. Ideas emerge, reflection deepens, creativity stirs, action finds purpose, and in that space, your inner world becomes vibrant again. And from this inner vibrancy, we prepare to explore the next essential truth, a lesson on how purpose shapes the meaning we bring to every breath, every step, and every challenge that awaits. After grounding ourselves in the quiet strength of solitude and learning how to embrace our whole selves in stillness, we now face another essential truth. To live with peace, we must learn to distinguish between what's in our hands and what never was. Life has its rhythm. Sometimes it flows gently like a quiet stream. Other times it comes crashing down like a storm with no warning. There will always be events we can prepare for, navigate, and shape through action. But just as often, we'll encounter situations that are completely beyond our control, moments that ask not for resistance, but for surrender. The Stoics believe that the key to happiness is simple yet profound. Learn the difference between what you can change and what you must accept, because it is in clarity, not control, that we find our deepest peace. Let's visualize this. Imagine a lone sailor in the middle of the ocean. The sky darkens, the wind howls, waves surge taller than his boat. The horizon disappears beneath thick, stormy clouds. The sailor can't change the weather. He can't demand the waves be still or wish the wind away. But he doesn't scream at the sky. He doesn't waste energy on rage or fear. Instead, he does what he can do. He adjusts the sails. He tightens the ropes. He shifts his posture. He focuses all his strength and attention on navigating, not resisting. This is the Stoic way. It's not passive, it's powerful. It teaches us that strength isn't always about force, it's about focus. It's about recognizing what's within our reach and committing fully to it. And so the sailor moves forward, not because the storm disappears, but because he stops trying to control what was never his to command. He puts his energy where it matters most, on his response, his mindset, and his actions. Now bring this into your own life. You can't control how others speak to you, but you can choose how you respond. You can't reverse time, but you can decide how you spend the next hour. You can't prevent every misfortune, but you can build the strength to face it with grace. Each moment presents a quiet decision. Will you fight reality, or will you meet it with wisdom? The truth is, many of us spend vast amounts of energy trying to control the uncontrollable. We overthink, we worry, we cling to outcomes we can't guarantee. It's like trying to hold a fistful of sand. No matter how tight you grip, it slips through. And the tighter you clench, the more quickly it escapes. But the moment you release the grip, when you accept what you cannot change, a weight lifts. Your mind clears. Your shoulders relax. Your breath deepens. And suddenly, life feels spacious again. This doesn't mean we give up or become indifferent. Quite the opposite. We become more powerful, more present, and more effective because our energy is no longer scattered. It is directed, aligned. This is the art of control, not the illusion of mastering everything, but the discipline of mastering yourself. So ask yourself, where are you spending energy that's going nowhere? What burdens can you set down? Not out of defeat, but out of wisdom. Let go of what's beyond you. Let it pass like the wind, and return to what is yours, your thoughts, your actions, your choices. That is where your power lives. That is where peace begins. As we continue forward, the next timeless truth invites us into an often overlooked practice, one that runs counter to the demands of the modern world, yet holds profound wisdom for a joyful life. The gift of slowing down, of embracing presence, and of truly savoring the now. Once we understand where our true power ends and inner peace begins, the next step is learning to let go, not out of weakness, but as a profound act of strength and trust. Trying to hold on to everything, every plan, every outcome, every expectation, is like trying to cup water in your hands. No matter how tight your grip, it slips through your fingers, leaving you restless, frustrated, and drained. The harder you try to control what's never been yours to command, the more exhausted you become. But acceptance is not the same as surrender. It's not giving up. It's letting go of unnecessary suffering. Think back to the image of the sailor at sea. The storm hasn't passed. The waves are still high. The wind still screams. But now the sailor is calm. He stopped fighting the storm, and in doing so, he's found a new kind of strength, the power to adapt, to flow, to respond with wisdom rather than resistance. This is what acceptance gives us. It conserves our precious energy so we can focus on what truly matters. It allows us to move through life's rough waters not with panic, but with grace. And most importantly, it teaches us this humbling truth. We are not powerless. We are simply wise enough to know where our power ends and where serenity begins. 4. Detach from outcomes. How often do we bind our happiness to a specific result? The promotion we're working for, the approval we quietly crave, the dream we chase so hard that we forget to breathe. We place all our joy in these external targets, believing that only by reaching them will we finally feel whole. But when things don't go as planned, when life turns left instead of right, our happiness crumbles, pulled down by the weight of unmet expectations. It's as if we've tied our sense of worth to a distant star, hoping it will shine on us. And when we fall short, darkness follows. But what if there's another way? Imagine a gardener tending to his plants. Day after day, he waters, trims, protects, and nurtures each one with care. He doesn't yell at the soil or demand the flowers bloom overnight. He knows that certain things are not up to him. The sun must rise, the rain must fall, and time must do its work. His joy comes not just from the harvest, but from the quiet, steady love he pours into the process. This is the beauty of detachment. It doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging. You release your grip on results and instead focus on what you can give, your effort, your intention, your integrity. Because life, like a garden, is unpredictable. Sometimes the seeds you plant bloom into vibrant beauty. Other times, no matter how carefully you tended them, they simply don't. But when your fulfillment comes from the act of nurturing, not the outcome, you're free. There's serenity in knowing you've done your best, regardless of what follows. So shift the way you measure success, not by what happens in the end, but by how you showed up. Did you act with passion, with presence, with honesty? When you begin to see life not as a scoreboard of wins and losses, but as an unfolding story of growth, learning, and self-expression, then peace enters. A calm that no external outcome can ever take away. Because your worth isn't defined by applause, achievement, or perfection. It's revealed in the authenticity of your effort. So keep tending your garden, water it with care, show up with love, and trust the universe to decide the rest. In this practice of letting go, not only do we find peace, we discover a quieter, deeper joy. A joy that isn't shaken by failure or inflated by success. A joy that simply is steady, real, and enduring. And when you begin to live from that place, another truth awakens before you, one that transforms the way you see even the smallest details of your life. The art of gratitude, how noticing the ordinary can unlock the extraordinary. Once we learn to let go of rigid expectations and begin noticing the quiet blessings in our daily lives, we step into one of the most powerful transformations of all, living with a heart rooted in gratitude. There's a subtle magic in life's ordinary moments, a warm cup of coffee in your hands, shared laughter echoing through a room, the quiet presence of someone you love sitting beside you without a word. These are the details we often overlook, caught in the rush of doing, chasing, becoming. But gratitude, true, soul-deep gratitude, brings those details into focus. It transforms what once felt routine into something rare and beautiful. The Stoics, known for their calm resilience and inner strength, practiced a powerful exercise called negative visualization. At first, it might sound unsettling. Why would anyone choose to imagine losing the very things they love? But for the Stoics, this wasn't about fear. It was about appreciation. A deliberate way to wake the soul from complacency and remind themselves that nothing, absolutely nothing, is guaranteed. Try it for a moment. Close your eyes. Picture your life without the people who light it up, without the comforts that cradle you, without the small routines that give your days a rhythm. What if they vanished today? Even this brief moment of imagined absence shifts something inside you. What was once taken for granted becomes sacred. What was once ordinary now feels like treasure. This mental practice teaches your mind not to coast through life, but to feel it, to remember again and again that every sunrise is a gift, that your breath, your heartbeat, your relationships are all miracles wrapped in the mundane. Far from being a dark exercise, this mindset infuses life with color. It elevates the everyday. It turns even a walk through your neighborhood or a sip of morning tea into something profound. Gratitude stops being a passive reaction to big wins. It becomes a lens through which you see the world. You begin to notice things you used to overlook: the whisper of wind through the trees, the subtle warmth of sunlight on your skin, the delicate rhythm of rain tapping on your window. These tiny wonders begin to matter more than they ever did. And as gratitude becomes a habit, your spirit changes. You become more grounded, more content, more alive. Eventually, something extraordinary happens. You stop chasing happiness because you realize it's already with you. Not somewhere far away, not in the future, but here, in this breath, this blink, this moment. 6. Live according to your values. From this rooted place of peace, another truth rises, quiet but mighty. To live with meaning, you must live in alignment with your values. Ask yourself honestly, what drives your choices every day? Is it the applause of others or the steady whisper of your inner compass? In a world that glorifies validation, it's easy to lose yourself chasing approval, a few compliments, a handful of likes, a nod of recognition. But what happens when the applause fades? If your sense of worth is built on the outside world, it will always feel fragile. True fulfillment doesn't come from being liked. It comes from being aligned, from knowing that your actions match your beliefs, that your choices reflect what matters most to you. This is where your values step in. Values are not vague ideals. They are anchors, foundations, guiding lights. So what are yours? Is it honesty, compassion, discipline, perseverance? Maybe it's loyalty, creativity, justice, or freedom. Whatever they are, name them, claim them. Let them become your inner compass. Picture yourself walking through a dense forest. It's thick, quiet. There are no signs, no clear trails. Without a compass, you'd wander in circles, unsure, lost. But with a compass in hand, every step gains purpose. You may not know where the path leads, but you walk it with clarity, with conviction. Your values are that compass. They ground you when the world spins. They guide you when everything feels uncertain. And when life presents a difficult choice, a fork in the road, you'll feel their weight. One path is easy, comfortable, safe. The other is harder, steeper, but it aligns with your values. In that moment, when no one's watching, when the stakes are high, you have a choice. And it's in those quiet decisions that character is revealed. Choosing the path that honors your values strengthens you from within. It builds integrity. It builds peace. You may not always take the easy way, but you'll take your way. And that's what makes all the difference. Now, with your compass set and your heart aligned, we take the next step into one of the most uncomfortable yet essential truths of all. 7. Embrace discomfort. Because real growth rarely comes dressed in ease. It comes wrapped in challenge. And it's there, in the tension, the stretch, the heat, that we become who we're meant to be. We spend so much of our lives trying to avoid discomfort. We run from it, hide from it, distract ourselves with convenience and entertainment. But what if discomfort isn't something to escape, but something to embrace? Discomfort is not your enemy. It is your ally. It is the forge in which your character is tested, strengthened, and transformed. It's easy to believe that a good life should be effortless, that happiness lies in ease, in things going smoothly, in never feeling pain. But the truth is far more powerful. Discomfort is what sculpts us into who we are meant to be. Think of a blacksmith standing before an anvil. In his hands is a rough piece of iron, dull, shapeless, unremarkable. To transform it into a sword, strong, sharp, and full of purpose, the blacksmith must thrust it into fire. Then, with rhythmic intensity, he strikes it over and over again. The heat rises. Sparks fly. The hammer sings. This is not a gentle process, but it is necessary. And so it is with you. Your struggles, your heartbreaks, your failures, these are your fire and hammer. They may sting, they may burn, but they do not break you. They reveal you. They expose your fears, not to shame you, but to sharpen you. They stretch your limits, not to defeat you, but to show you how far you can grow. Now picture a tiny seed resting deep underground. It sits in total darkness, under pressure, buried beneath layers of earth. If it refuses to push through, if it fears the strain, the resistance, it will stay buried forever. But if it leans into that pressure, if it reaches upward despite the weight pressing down, something remarkable happens. It meets the light. That seed becomes a towering tree, not because it avoided the struggle, but because it embraced it. The same is true for you. Discomfort is not a punishment, it is a passage, a narrow, often painful doorway into your next level of strength. When you avoid discomfort, you avoid growth. But when you face it, when you take the risk, have the hard conversation, choose integrity over ease, something powerful unfolds. You discover that the edge of your comfort zone isn't a wall. It's a door to resilience, to new skills, to deeper wisdom and strength that's been waiting for you. It doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet. It's saying no when yes would be easier. It's standing your ground when you're the only one standing. It's getting up one more time than you fell. Because discomfort doesn't just build grit, it builds grace. The grace to stay calm in the chaos. The grace to keep going when clarity hasn't arrived. The grace to whisper to yourself, this is hard, and I'm still here. Let this truth take root. You were not made for comfort alone. You were made to be challenged, to fall, to rise again, to evolve. Every time you choose courage over comfort, you honor your future self, the version of you waiting on the other side, stronger, wiser, and more alive than ever. And once you start to see discomfort not as a threat, but as a teacher, a new question rises within you, one that shifts your entire compass. What does success really mean to me? And have I been chasing someone else's version all along? 8. Redefine success. After realizing that discomfort is the spark that fuels transformation, we arrive at one of life's most important questions, one that changes not only how we grow, but why we grow. What does success truly mean to you? We've been taught to chase certain images of success, images painted by the world around us. Wealth, status, applause, the corner office, the luxury car, the big audience. But stop for a moment. Turn inward. Is that really your definition? Maybe success isn't about how many digits are in your bank account or how many people know your name. Maybe, just maybe, it's something quieter, more personal, more profound. Maybe success is waking up each morning feeling aligned with your values. Maybe it's finding joy in the simple rhythm of everyday life, or making someone's day just a little brighter without anyone else even noticing. Success might not be the loudest thing in your life. It might be the softest. It could be how truthfully you live, how deeply you love, how fiercely you protect your peace, or how courageously you pursue what sets your soul on fire, even if no one else understands it. Redefine success on your own terms, because the world doesn't need more rich people. It doesn't need more fame. What it needs, what it desperately craves, is more fulfilled people. People who are alive from the inside out. People who wake up with purpose. Who feel genuine gratitude for what they already have. Who find joy not just at the finish line, but throughout the journey. True success isn't a trophy you earn. It's a way of moving through life, a way of being. It's walking your path with peace in your heart, regardless of how many eyes are watching. It's feeling full, not because you have everything, but because you need less. So ask yourself honestly, what does success mean to me? And more importantly, am I creating a life that reflects it? 9. Practice presence. Once you've redefined success on your own terms, there's one truth that makes it all real. One practice that transforms your ideas into experience, the power of presence. Because the only place life actually happens is right here, right now. We often move through the world like time is infinite, like we can rewrite the past or outsmart the future, but both are illusions. The past, with all its joy, its pain, its memories, is already written. The future, with all its promise and uncertainty, hasn't yet arrived. All we ever truly have is this moment, this breath, this heartbeat, this now. And yet, we rarely live here. Our minds drift, we relive old conversations, we fast forward to worst-case scenarios, we scroll, we plan, we numb. Meanwhile, the present moment, the only real thing, is slipping through our fingers like grains of sand. But mindfulness calls us back. It's the art of anchoring yourself to now, of slowing down, of noticing the world in high definition. Imagine this. You're eating a meal, not while watching a screen or rushing to your next task, but truly eating. You notice the texture, the warmth, the flavor. You feel gratitude with every bite. It becomes more than just food. It becomes a gift. Or picture yourself walking, not from point A to point B, but simply walking. You feel the ground beneath your feet. You hear the rhythm of your steps. The wind brushes your face. The sunlight lands gently on your skin. The world opens up to you, not because it changed, but because you finally noticed it. And when you talk to someone, you don't just hear their words, you feel them. You stop thinking of your reply and instead listen with your heart. That's presence. That's life, fully experienced. Happiness doesn't live in yesterday's memories or tomorrow's hopes. It lives here, in the smile you're wearing now, in the breath you just took, in this second, right where you are. Think of each moment as a pearl on the necklace of your life. When you're present, you gather those pearls, one by one, until your life becomes a strand of clarity, intention, and beauty. Of course, being present isn't always easy. The mind will wander. It clings to regrets. It chases fantasies. But presence is a muscle. And like any muscle, the more you train it, the stronger it gets. And with each return to the now, you bring yourself back to what matters most. As this awareness deepens, the next timeless truth awaits, inviting you not just to notice life as it is, but to meet it with a mind that bends, adapts, and rises. The art of resilience. Each time you return to now, you sharpen your awareness. You deepen your peace. You create a sanctuary within yourself, a place untouched by the chaos of the outside world. And in that mindful state, something becomes beautifully clear. Happiness was never a destination. It was always right here, waiting in the stillness, waiting in the now. As you strengthen this connection to the present, the next timeless truth calls you even deeper, to examine not only how you live, but how you see the world and what stories you tell yourself about it. 10. Develop a resilient mindset. Once you begin living with presence, anchored in the now, awake to life as it unfolds, you also begin to open your heart to a deeper truth. Life will challenge you again and again, but with the right mindset, you won't just survive, you'll grow. Resilience is more than just strength. It's the invisible bridge between struggle and triumph, between falling down and rising stronger. Life, by its very nature, will test you. Not once, not twice, but many times. Some storms you'll see coming from miles away. Others will arrive unannounced and crash into your world without warning. And in those moments, the most important question is never why me? It's how will I respond? Because it's not the challenge itself that defines you. It's the way you stand up again after it tries to knock you down, how you gather your breath, how you steady your spirit, how you choose to keep walking, even when the path is steep and the map is unclear. The Stoics believe that we can't always control what happens to us, but we can always control what it means to us. Perspective shapes reality. What looks like failure might actually be a disguised lesson. What feels like a setback may secretly be a redirection, an invitation to become wiser, more compassionate, and stronger than before. Every hardship holds within it the seed of growth, and every challenge you face today is shaping the person you'll become tomorrow. Think of a tall, ancient tree standing in a windstorm. Its trunk bends, its branches sway, leaves are stripped away, but the tree does not fall. Why? Because its roots run deep. Hidden below the surface is a network of strength, a silent foundation keeping it grounded, no matter how wildly the wind rages. You must cultivate those same roots within yourself. Roots of resilience, roots of courage, roots of faith in your ability to endure. Because resilience is not the absence of pain, it's the willingness to feel it, to face it, to say, this hurts and I will keep going anyway. It's the understanding that pain isn't punishment, it's part of being alive. And sometimes it's the very thing that polishes you into who you're meant to be. Now picture yourself, not as a rigid object, but as a flowing river. When the river meets resistance, rocks, curves, narrow banks, it doesn't stop. It flows around the obstacles, it reshapes its path, it carves new channels, it transforms the land it touches. You are that river. Your challenges are not stopping you, they are shaping you. They are sculpting the depth of your soul, the resilience of your heart, and the clarity of your purpose. In the darkest moments, when it feels like the world is too heavy, remember, resilience is not built in comfort. It's built in choice. Each time you choose to rise, each time you choose to breathe deeply and try again, each time you meet adversity not with fear, but with presence, you become unshakable. You don't just survive the storm, you grow because of it. 11. Seek knowledge and growth. With resilience as your foundation, the next step is to keep evolving, to stay curious, to keep learning, not just from books, but from life itself. Because a curious mind is a joyful mind. It looks at the world not with judgment, but with wonder, not with boredom, but with fascination, not with cynicism, but with questions. It's curiosity that fuels our growth, that moves us beyond the familiar and into the unknown, that allows us to ask, what else is possible? And it's in that question that your next chapter begins. It asks questions. It explores the unknown. It treats each day like a new adventure, full of possibility. Curiosity is the spark that fuels growth. It's what nudges you out of routine. It whispers that there's more to see, more to learn, more to become. It pushes you beyond what's familiar. It invites you to step into new realms of thought, of emotion, of experience. The world is full of layers, cultures, stories, and mysteries waiting to be uncovered. And with every new thing you learn, every fresh perspective, every idea that challenges you, every book that widens your worldview, you add another brushstroke to the masterpiece that is you. Read stories that stretch your beliefs. Ask the questions that don't have easy answers. Engage in conversations that make you rethink what you thought you knew. And don't just ask others. Ask yourself, what excites me? What captivates me? What questions keep echoing in my mind long after the conversation ends? Curiosity builds a bridge from where you are to where you could go. Even the smallest act of exploration, a new recipe, a different route home, a skill you've never tried, can open doors you didn't know existed. Because every new experience is a seed. And with time, those seeds grow into wisdom, into insight, into expansion. Remember, growth isn't a destination, it's a direction. It's not a finish line you cross. It's the unfolding of your potential, one moment, one choice, one question at a time. And as you continue walking that path with openness, with wonder, something shifts. Happiness no longer feels like something out ahead of you. It begins to live inside you. It shows up in your thoughts, in your curiosity, in your willingness to keep becoming. And as your awareness expands, one final truth comes into view. A truth that reminds you of your power to shape not just yourself, but the world around you. 12. Focus on creating, not just consuming. When curiosity becomes your compass and growth becomes your rhythm, life stops being something to conquer and instead becomes something to savor. You no longer rush through your days. You begin to create them. But in the modern world, it's easy to forget this. We live in a sea of endless input. We scroll, we watch, we react. We consume more content, more opinions, more distractions than ever before. And slowly, without noticing, we shift into passive mode. We become spectators in our own lives. But consumption is passive. Creation is powerful. When you create, you don't just absorb life. You engage with it. You shape it. You leave a mark. Imagine your life as a blank canvas. It's easy to stand and admire the paintings others have made. But what if, instead of just watching, you picked up the brush? Every stroke, every idea you bring to life, every moment you shape with intention is a statement. I showed up. I made something real. Creation doesn't have to mean art. It can be a kind word, a meaningful conversation, a home-cooked meal, a letter, a small project, an act of love. It's anything that begins within you and takes form in the world. And here's the most beautiful part. What you create doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be yours. Honest, real, human. Because when you create, you express, you contribute, you live. You take something that once only existed in your heart and give it life. And in doing so, you find something that consumption can never give you, fulfillment. A quiet joy that comes not from receiving, but from giving, from building, from becoming. Creation gives purpose to your time. It transforms the ordinary into the intentional. It turns your days into a living, breathing expression of your soul. So don't wait. Don't wait for the right moment or the flawless plan. Pick up your brush, your pen, your idea, your courage. Begin. You are the artist of your life. And every act of creation, no matter how small, carries the seed of happiness. 13. Accept impermanence. And as you create more, live more, feel more, you will inevitably come to this final sacred truth. Nothing lasts forever. And that's what makes it all so beautiful. Everything is fleeting. The people we love, the moments we cherish, even the breath in our lungs. And far from being a sad truth, this is what makes life sacred. Imagine each moment as a delicate snowflake, unique, breathtaking, melting the instant it touches your skin. You cannot preserve it forever, but you can feel it fully before it disappears. This is impermanence. This is the essence of life. The Stoics captured it with two simple words: memento mori. Remember that you will die, not to scare you, but to wake you up, to remind you, live fully, stop postponing joy, stop assuming there will always be more time. When you accept impermanence, something within you softens. You let go of the tight grip. You release the constant clinging. You stop fearing endings and start celebrating beginnings. You finally give yourself permission to be here now, without fear of what's next. Think of life as a river, constantly flowing, never still. You can't hold on to the water, but you can immerse yourself in its current. You can feel its coolness against your skin, the movement swirling around your feet, the rhythm pulsing beneath your breath. In embracing impermanence, you find a new kind of freedom, a peace not built on stability, but on presence, a happiness not tied to permanence, but to appreciation. Even endings begin to glow with new meaning. That old photograph, the one that captures a burst of laughter, a shared glance, a fleeting joy, it still makes your heart swell. Not because the moment lasted, but because it mattered. Letting go doesn't mean letting go of meaning. It means holding on more gently, knowing that everything is temporary and therefore everything is precious. In this awareness, life stops being a race against time. It becomes a dance with it. A dance where every step, joyous or painful, adds depth, texture, and richness to your story. And as the sun sets once more on that quiet hill, the sky deepens into indigo. Stars begin to shimmer above. The air is still cool and full of peace. You stand there not chasing happiness, but being it. Because now you understand, happiness isn't found, it's created. Created through presence, through intention, through the way you choose to live each moment, each breath, each day. So go, live fully, love deeply, create boldly. And let happiness find you, moment by fleeting, beautiful moment.